Hi everyone, my name is Tim and welcome to Online Video, the newest web show on the internet.
Peace on earth through piece of ass, brother.
Hi everyone, and once again, I saw something that really annoyed me. Let me tell you what happened. I was in my car at the wrong time of day, and you know what time of day that is. The time of day when all the kids are getting out of school and getting on the school buses, and the school buses are stopping everywhere, getting in your way, and slowing you down. I happened to pull up to a four-way intersection, and here comes a school bus and another branch of the intersection that got there just before me. So they get to go before me. And they can make three different directions they can go in. And where do they go? Of course, they go the way I'm going. So I have to ride behind a school bus for about 1.5 miles to get away, to get where I want to go. I go, well, I'm not in a big rush. Whatever, we'll get there. Okay. But I'm driving behind the school bus, and I'm watching kids get off here and there. And I'm thinking, you know what? These kids today are so babied and have things so easy for themselves, they could never learn to live in the real world like I did when I was growing up. Because here's what's happening. It's a residential area, so in some cases, the kids are stopping right at their mailbox. Go from here, right to their house, done. Okay, simple enough. In some cases, they don't live right there. So what happens? Their parents come down with their car, their mother or father, whoever, comes down with the car and is waiting for them by the street to drive them home. And in a lot of the cases, if the bus stopped right at the kid's house, one of their parents was at the end of the driveway to meet them and walk them back to the house. These kids can't be trusted to walk 10 feet on their own. I went on Google Earth to the house I grew up in, otherwise known as the house that should be mine, which is a whole other story we'll get into someday. But from where I lived, grades 1 through 6, I walked 450 feet to my bus stop. Grades 7 through 12, I walked 800 feet to my bus stop. On my own, maybe with other kids in the neighborhood, but no parents around ever. If it was a day when you had a lot of rain, we may or may not have had an umbrella with us. If it was a day with a lot of snow, so what? Get walking. Parents never came to the bus stop to either drop us off or pick us up. And that's fine for them because it just wasn't a thing back then. You want to get to the school bus stop? Start walking, But nowadays, and you have this, on the school buses today, you have the stop sign that comes out. And you have that little yellow arm that comes out in front of the bus's front bumper to say, hey kids, don't walk right here 6 inches in front of the bus. Go around where the bus driver can see you. You have to tell them that these days because they can't figure it out on their own. Oh, if I stand here right in front of the bus and stop, they won't see me and they'll run me over and I'll die. Side story. When I was in 9th grade, we had, there was one day we had some sort of an assembly or party or whatever in the school gym right as the day was ending. And all the kids were going right from the gym to get on their buses and leave. And kids are yelling, screaming, waving out the bus windows. Other kids who haven't got on their bus yet, they're standing in the parking lot walking beside the buses as they leave. And the next morning, on the school announcements, the principal got on the speakers for the entire school with the morning announcements, and he was talking about the kids running near the buses as the buses were leaving, and he said this, I love this, he says, don't run alongside the buses, you'll get killed. And that made it, that was a big laugh for everyone in the classrooms. But can you imagine even saying that today? Oh, you'd have to have crisis counselors saying, oh, the kids can't handle the truth of the world. Anyhow, back to the main story. I am getting home slowly, and the school bus comes to one stop. The bus stops. I think, okay, some kid's going to get out because there's a mailbox in the house just right there in front of the bus a little bit. No, nobody gets off the bus. It turned out the mailman had parked his truck in front of the bus. So finally, after sitting there for the better part of a minute, the mailman moves. Then the school bus rolls up about 10 or 20 feet, stops again, and then the kid gets off. You can't walk 20 feet to your driveway. You have to be right there at the driveway to get off the school bus. Oh, boy. Kids today, they have it so easy. Oh, they would just not even be able to handle living in the 80s like how I grew up. When you had to be a little more independent and self-reliant and take care of yourself and figure things out and not have everything done for you. Now, people wonder why kids today are the way they are. Oh, boy. And it must be, maybe it's just me getting a little bit older now. I think about how my parents would say, it wasn't like that when I was young. Or my grandparents would say, it wasn't like that when I was young. You hear the stories about they had to walk to school in the snow, uphill both ways and everything. Well, it was not that bad when I was growing up. But today, boy, kids can't even be trusted to walk 50 feet on their own to get home from school. One or two kids get run over by the bus or run out in front of the car, and then millions of us all have to pay the price for it and wait in line and get behind the bus and wait for the stop sign to open and close, so we can drive past the bus when there's clearly no kids anywhere around it. So, yeah, all this comes, I'm just trying to get home like a mile and a half and get behind a school bus, and that's how you get this episode. Well, anyhow, that's all for today's episode, so think about this, and make your kids walk to the school bus on their own. Don't baby them their whole lives. They need to grow up sooner or later.